Hello OCR students, we've done it for paper 1, we're doing it now for paper 2. Major hot topic areas that you guys need to give an extra bit of weight to in your revision. As with the paper 1 hot topics video, make sure that you guys are a master of all the theory of the topic areas I'm going to mention. And where I give you context, again, make sure you can confidently apply that context to the theory that you're learning. That's what your job is when this video is over, to make sure that you're absolutely ready for paper 2. All of this, of course, has come from the pre-release information, but also guys, make sure that you're watching all the content videos on the channel. Make sure that you're also very much in my revision for 2022 exams playlist. You're following all of those videos. This is one of them. There are many, many more for you guys to watch. And make sure you guys have checked out my specialized OCR exam technique playlist as well. Plenty of videos in there to guide you for all the questions that are going to come up in your exams. And of course, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You don't want to miss new video uploads like this one. So make sure you've done that if you haven't already. So here we go. Let's get into these major hot topic areas for paper 2. Well, a big topic area to start with is knowing your key macro performance indicators well. We're starting with growth and unemployment, and how during the heart of the COVID crisis, growth was tumbling big time. We had the worst recession in the UK for 300 years as one example, but also unemployment rose a little bit. So knowing the pros and cons of growth and unemployment will set you up for a potential essay question linked to that. But also knowing inflation. We're currently at a time of significantly rising inflation, the consequences of that, but more so I think for this year is knowing deflation well. There were big deflationary risks during the heart of the COVID crisis. I think that's more likely to be an essay question than inflation is likely to be an essay question. So knowing the consequences of deflation, why it can be so concerning, but also evaluation points will be very important in your revision for paper 2. Then it comes to macro policy. This is a heavy topic area for paper 2. You need to be a specialist with macro policy and be ready for any kind of 25 marker that is likely to come from these policies. OCR have said all three could feature: fiscal, monetary, and supply side policies. But when they do come up in exams, they're often very heavily themed. So you want to make sure, you know what these policies are. You want to know what the pros and cons of them are, of course, but you want to make sure that you're happy with the themes linked to them as well. So what are they? Well, for fiscal policy, two major themes: massive expansionary fiscal policy that we in the UK used during COVID times, but pretty much every country in the world was using as well during COVID times. But now the theme is very much contractionary fiscal policy, the need for fiscal tightening to bring down government debt, to bring down budget deficits, but also to help fight against very high rates of inflation. So know both sides, both themes very well. On the monetary policy side, similar themes. Again, during COVID times, the UK and many countries in the world using very heavy expansionary monetary policy, slashing interest rates, yes, but also heavy use of quantitative easing. So be confident with both policies and how they work, and be able to evaluate both policies too. At the same time, there was a big discussion in the UK and in other countries about whether negative interest rates should be used, so know a bit about that. But now we are very much in the contractionary monetary policy side, aren't we? We're talking of higher interest rates. We've already done it in the UK, the need for more higher interest rates to fight very high rates of inflation. So they're the themes, be aware of all, be ready for essay questions linked to those. On the supply side policy side, of course, know your supply side policies and how they can achieve your major macro objectives. Yes, that will be nice and simple. But also bear in mind, there are wider uses of supply side policies too. For example, supply side policies to reduce current account deficits, to boost international competitiveness of exports, but also supply side policies that can help improve regional growth. So how in the UK, for example, supply side policies can be targeted to boosting growth rates in the Midlands and in the North and help to level up the UK economy, deal with regional inequalities that way. But also supply side policies that can promote sustainable growth, growth without long-term high rates of inflation, but also growth that's more environmentally friendly as well. So bear in mind that side of supply side policies too. But macro policy, major topic area, so many themes to make sure you're revising as well. OCR has said very strongly, know your macro policy conflicts. So that is conflicts with major macro objectives that can occur via the use of macro policies, and be able to link a lot of those conflicts to the Phillips curve too. Just make sure you're revising that well, because that could be a 25 marker for sure. Now a huge one for me, and that is the topic area of free trade and protectionism. Two potential 25 markers are hitting me at the moment with this topic area. The first one is a 25 marker simply about the pros and cons of free trade, and the theme there could easily be linked to the UK's position post-Brexit and how our politicians have come out and said we want the UK to be a global leader of free trade, to be a champion of free trade. We've signed many free trade deals with countries around the world, so a 25 marker is simply about the pros and cons of that for the UK economy. Could be a nice 25 marker, but also a 25 marker is simply about the pros and cons of protectionism. And if it's your choice, I would link that to the US and China trade war. Again, a major theme, a trade war that's continued under Joe Biden. Maybe OCR go that way, in which case that could be your context. Revise both the pros and cons of free trade and protectionism very, very well. That would be a lovely 25 marker if it came up for sure. OCR have mentioned development, but development is no longer a major part of the macro course. So I guess just make sure you're revising growth and development as a topic area very well, the pros and cons of growth for development, but also the role of the financial sector for development. Then you're ready for essay questions if that's what OCR try and do this year. And lastly, know of the causes and consequences of income inequality. That's been highlighted. But last major theme, just make sure you're not missing it out in your revision. Know of the macro impact of very low oil prices. We're not seeing that now, but again, during the COVID crisis, we did. Oil prices completely collapsed. So the macro impact for oil exporters, the macro impact for oil importers. I've seen examiners ask questions on that before. Big 25 markers, in fact. So just make sure you're revising that. It's not difficult. Just make sure you have the content learned. So that, guys, covers all the hot topic areas for paper 2. Your job, remember, is to weight these up in your revision, give them more time, be a master of the theory, make sure you can apply the context to this theory as well, and you'll be set for paper 2. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you guys are watching all the other videos relevant for your paper 2 revision, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.